So let's bow our heads. Father, you know that the homes are very confused these days. All kinds of things are happening in homes, and it spills over in society. And then people come and bring it in the church. So, Father, I'm asking you to be with us, open our eyes and our minds, that we might see where the problems lie and make changes, we ask in your name. Amen. Now, some folk ask me to hold on before they get here, until they get here, but I'm going ahead, right? We only have 1 hour. What I'm going to do is I want to show you a picture. And then I would like for you to analyze it and describe it. And then we will discuss it. Okay? We look at the picture, analyze it, and we will discuss it. We want to identify a possible problem as you look at that picture. What are you seeing in it? Huh?
The man nagging his wife.
You saw that?
Yep. And she's not having it.
What do you think he's, anybody else would like to describe it?
I think maybe they're having a disagreement.
Having a disagreement. What kind of disagreement do you think they're having there? Is it a serious one, a mild one? Is he upset? Or, well, I'm not going to tell you what he's seeing.
I don't think it's serious, maybe mild.
But he's mad. He's mad, but not seriously mad. How about you ladies and gentlemen? What are you seeing? Whose phone is this? Yeah. What are you seeing?
Well, definitely they're having a disagreement, and the lady hand would be like, I'm done, I'm done.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to speak anymore. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's the bad story for you. All right, let's go on. Let's go on.
I think this is not the first time they're arguing about this, whatever the situation is. And she is over with it. She don't want to discuss it again because apparently they haven't gotten anywhere before.
All right.
She's guilty of an offense. It happened before, and he wants to, let's talk about this thing, honey. I don't want to hear it. She just shut him down. But he's saying, yes, you see,
You see all of
what
that
he's saying,
there?
I'll wait until you calm down, I'll talk about it. You'll be solved today. I'll wait until you'll be solved today.
Boy, you are such a good actor. He folded his arms and said, look, I'll wait until you calm down. Are you in agreement with that? Are you seeing that there, ladies? I see that she's very upset. And it seems as though this went on for several times before. She's pretending.
He's saying, honey, I just see a cat pass by here. No, it's a rat. It's a cat, it's a rat. I don't want to hear it. Okay.
You see rat and cat there?
Yes.
He is very upset, and she doesn't want to hear anything anymore. So what does that tell you about their previous conversation? Yeah. Let's hear your point.
I think it's something that they are revisiting. They have had this conversation maybe a couple times. And at this point, she doesn't see any sense in saying anything because whatever she says, he's not going to agree with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, he has the right to speak.
It's happening right now. What I see in that gesture there, that man is patient. He's tolerant.
He's fed up.
No, he's not fed up.
They're not fed up.
No.
Okay.
He wants to get to the bottom of it. You're going to wait until you give up? I mean, let's talk about this thing. If he was a mad guy, he'd have been flinging his hands. What are you saying? Okay, you're mad, you know. Tell me if you can talk about this today.
You saw all of that there. Would you like to say what you see in there, sir?
No, leaving it up to everybody.
No comments. So what are you in that, the woman or the man? Yes, sir. What have you seen in there? Why do you think they're quarreling? Why? Why are they upset?
They're upset because they can't come to some resolution about something that they were talking about forever. And I do believe that it was something that happened in the past. This is not the first time. This is
What make you say that?
because she is her hand position. Her hand position, yeah. We have seen that before. So
We're used to that. Yes, you have something to say.
Yeah, because a woman could take a lot. So you know whatever it is, it have to be his problem because he keeps not. So a woman takes enough. So when she get to that point where she put her hands up, you know, I'm done, yes.
Can't take it anymore. All right. The next one. Here's the next one. What do you think is their problem? The bills. Who is under stress there? The man or the woman?
The man, he was supposed to pay the bill and didn't pay the bill and she found out.
You know, those are real things that happen in our homes, you know. So what else do you see? They're having financial problems. Worries? What else?
He's not sure what to do. It's a headache.
The headache. He's having a headache. That's it? That's all for that problem? All right, let's look at the other one. Ooh. What do you see there as the problem?
A frustrated woman with the husband putting so much demands on her, and then she have the house problem, she have child problem. We don't know if she's working outside the home, but she look like she's under a lot of stress from the family issues.
What do you see, sir?
I see a cry baby. And both the baby and the woman.
And the man.
The man is not crying. The woman looks like she's crying.
Yeah, because
And the baby is crying.
Making her cry.
How can he make her cry?
Look at the way his hand is.
That is not, he's just talking to her.
Oh, he's like,
She's a cry baby, just like the baby. No wonder the child is crying.
yes, that's threatening. He's doing
So
something.
why do you think the child is crying and fussing? Why?
The The child is being neglected by
That's right. The child is being neglected by both parents. Yes, sir. Yes, that's here.
He's abusive.
Speak loud.
That man is abusive. He's a bully. Probably half drunk. Came home from where he was. He had no money. He wants food. And she was tired with the kid all day. The food is not ready. Yes. Look at the man's position. He stuck his hand in her face. She is almost hopeless to defend herself. Baby is crying, "Man, mommy, I'm hungry."
You know, you're an honest man. And I guess that the man is speaking very loud, and the child is and the child is very probably scared. All right, the next one. This is a very interesting one. What would cause this wife and the mother to say this? You have any idea?
Some man disappointed her. She lost interest in men because of some great disappointment.
Where's the man in that picture?
Look him walking out.
He's walking out. with everything he owns, he's walking out with everything he owns right there. And she says she doesn't need a man. She's frustrated.
That could have been her father, too. Her father that's walking out the door with his stuff that left her mother, and then that. I don't need a man, too, yeah.
But her father is not her man.
No, but the father, how he treated the mother.
Oh, you're going deep.
Yes, the father treated
That's
the
the
mother
man.
that way and walked out, so I don't need a man either.
Yes.
And you notice that the children didn't say anything because they can't take sides. They hate that daddy is going, and they don't want to upset mommy. And he was leaving with all he has, as he said. Yes, that's all he had.
I think he looks irresponsible because when you think about what he has, he does not have much, and I don't think he contributed much to the family. Right? So based on that, if she's been carrying everything, she really does not need him. And then she just generalizes, I can't take this anymore. It's best for me to just do this by myself.
All right. Anything else behind you?
I'm looking at it more than one, because when she said I don't need a man, it can be from a childhood perspective where she has seen her mother being abused, being neglected, and then now she herself can be in in the relationship, and then she's been neglected also and being abused. So she was saying, well, it's better that I be by myself, because even speaking from my experience, when I was growing up, I know my dad used to be a gambler, and he would work, give my mom the money, then he left with the rest of the money, gamble it, and when he lost all those money, then he would come back for the one that he gave my mom. And then I always said to myself, I would never talk to a gambler or someone that drinks or anything like that. So it can be... Right, so it can be from that perspective.
Well, I guess she's fortunate because she got me just when I stopped drinking. So so what I'm seeing though, I look and I see that red spot on her forehead. That I don't know if it's the photo, the lady forehead. I don't know if it's probably she has been abused or so probably they just had a fight or a quarrel, so he hit her in the face, and it looks like it's in the night, so he's actually going out, leaving at night. So probably leave the family all by themselves. Probably she's in an abusive relationship because it's like a bruise on her forehead. No, no, it doesn't. No, no. It seems as if it's something, right? Because I get right is right. It doesn't look like it's something that's happened very regular. I mean, so she make up her mind and say, "Hey, I don't need a man." Which if that's what's right. That's what's happening here. So the child is aware of what is happening to her mother.
Let's get this. Oh, you have something to say?
That man's behavior is a comfort to a fool.
Is that what?
A comfort to a fool. He's a promissory note. He does something pretty regularly, and I promise I'll be better. But he never honors his promise. She's fed up. And he probably treats her not too nicely, so.
But he's the one leaving you.
Yes. She responds after all these promissory notes, I don't need a man.
Okay.
Because you're not a man, you're a promissory note.
Okay, yes, sir, you had something to say.
Yeah, I think something is staring us in the face. It says the domino effect. What she thinks is affecting the children. You see that?
We're not there yet, brother.
I'm sorry, Teach.
Just stick with this woman alone.
Let's do the woman alone. All right.
Stick with her.
Okay then. So in this case, she was tired of a man, but she had 2 children for the man. So I guess she probably realized now I have 2 children. I need a man.
Oh, so she only wanted the man for the children. She only needed a man for the children. Well, thank you so much.
Well, Dr. Pottinger, I don't know if those 2 children are for the man. It could be that she had an extraordinarily high expectation, and those expectations are not met for whatever reason. And so since my expectations are not met, you can go your way and I go mine. I don't need you.
But she didn't go her way. Her way is right here. Oh, maybe it's her house. Okay. So for those of you who are just coming in, we just want to look at this picture here and solve why. So as you see it, tell us why. Why? What would cause this wife and mother to say what she said?
I think maybe it has to do with probably unfaithfulness in the relationship, and she just decides to stick it out alone.
Okay, unfaithfulness in her relationship with this husband or man, and she just decided to stick it alone. All right, next.
I don't think it's the first time he left. It just, the way he walking, it looked like he accustomed doing that. That's one. Look at the determination, like he accustomed. And the sad thing is, he knows that he walk out and he could come back in and give her 2 doo-doo darling, and he back in. So, but the word that I look at in the phrase that she's saying there, that sentence, she didn't say, I don't want a man. She says, I don't need. And when she says, I don't need a man, it's pertaining to the man that she now has. So when I was coming in, I think somebody made that comment. She seemed to have been making it on her own, even though he was around. So the in and out, she get to the point where, you know, when you go now, brother, hit the road, Jack, and don't come back no more. I don't need you.
And by the way, when you're going, take your Georgie bundle with you. Anybody else? Comments on what you see there? Oh, we have the pastor giving us blessing.
Well, I'm breaking my silence because I want everybody else to speak first. We're assuming that this woman is married to the man. It could be that that's just a boyfriend. That's just we're making that assumption based on the question. But she could be someone we're making that assumption based on the question. But it doesn't have to be. She could be somebody else. We're looking at the picture, and she could be somebody who was just having an affair, and she wound up with kids. She don't need a man anymore, like someone else was saying. So just looking at it from another angle.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if anybody said this before, but being a wife and a mother here, it seems like the father or husband, maybe the husband and father of these children, but is never around. So she's just had to make life happen for them the best she could. That's what I see in this picture.
What else I see that's interesting is that, oh, okay. Yeah, what I see that is also interesting is that both kids have their back to the father or husband or boyfriend or whoever he is. It's like they're all fed up with him. So normally if a parent is walking out in a situation like this, the child will be crying and looking towards that person who is leaving, wanting that person to stay, but not these kids.
Pastor, could you read the thing again? Read that again. Okay. Anyway, what caused this wife and mother to say this? I'm going back to what this brother saw. The detail. She's abused. Look at her face. It's like blood shots over the top of her face. It's not any makeup. Look at the right eye. Yeah. So she's abused, and he left. It could have been the same guy pointing that finger in the previous one.
But it turned black in this one.
Yeah, it's just he's in the shadows when these are up here. But look at that. See that? He is that she's abused, and then he left.
You see, my friends, we are analyzing things that happen in our own homes, right there. In some even Adventist homes. Anybody else? Yes. What are you seeing?
I'm just thinking because sometimes with the abuse, children, some parents stay in abusive relationship because of the children. But sometimes the children would feel better if their mom or the person that is being abused left the relationship and they're single and alone with their parents more than seeing their mom being abused and so on. So that, if you notice, that's what the brother said. They're not looking at him any at all because they're mad with him also for what he has been doing to their mom.
Anybody else would like to analyze this? Well, let's,
What's your view?
Well, this woman is saying, I don't need a man. What men do? They work and bring home money. What else? They satisfy your sexual cravings. What else? Huh? Help in the housework? Really? All right. What else? Security. All right. Let's say help, because my husband helped with the housework. So let's say help with the housework. What else? Security, money. And they fight too. What else? What else? They make their wife is always happy. You saw that there? Oh, all right, General. Okay, let's move from that. I think we have said enough. But let me ask you this question before. Do you think that some of our Seventh-day Adventist homes are experiencing something like that? Huh? So what's the problem? So, all right. Well, let me move on so we can, all right.
Oftentimes, bringing it into probably families within the church, oftentimes spouses, whether it's the wife or the husband, tends to be married to positions within the church and have little time for the family members. So they're left out oftentimes, and so it falls back again on the mother to take care of the household.
Anything else? Any comments about that? Okay, let's move on.
Statement at the bottom until we see the entire picture.
Yeah, but nobody's
But-
looking at it.
but
They
I
can't
believe-
read it yet.
But I believe there's a problem with this so-called wife and mother, that she doesn't need a man.
Okay, here.
And the influence.
Say it loud and broad.
No, I won't say either loud or broad. It's possible that this so-called wife and mother has a problem with men. And it's going to have an effect on everybody else in the family. And I think that's why that line is there, the domino effect.
So this lady has a problem with men, and the man walks out. Okay. I'm used to seeing women walk out, not men.
No, just looking at the picture deeply, it looks like not just that the woman is being abused, but it looked like the family is being neglected. So it could be just because look what he's walking out with. As Sister Potting just said, he doesn't have much. So it looks like maybe he's just going fishing or just going somewhere and he's just neglecting the family. They want to spend good time with him, quality time. Huh?
The reason why he's walking out with little or nothing is because he gave everything he had. He gave her everything. He had nothing left. Yes, he did. The man gave everything he had. Look what he got.
All right, let me get to...
Because if he was that generous, I think those kids would not want to let him go through that door.
They'd be there grabbing his legs. All right, enough of that, so let's move on. You know, all right, let's move on to the second scenario here. What did the little girl say? Huh? Oh. She says, the mother says, I don't need a man. And the little girl says, I don't want a man. You see the influence right in the home? That's my big point. The influence that we shared knowingly and unknowingly in the home.
Yes, it's the same thing. It's the experience that she saw her mom going through. That's why she don't. I have an experience where I was at my hairdresser just the other day, and she and her baby father was having a quarrel, and there was this other little girl there waiting to do her hair, and she said, I'm telling you, I will never get married, and I don't think I would ever live with a man based on what she saw that was happening. So it's the experience that she saw.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, by their stance, they don't even care if he left. Their backs are turned to him, and they are facing us. If those children probably want him to go, didn't want him to go, they'd be like, Daddy, or something, you know?
His trousers.
Yeah, and I'm coming back to the story. She is abused. She got the bruise over there as evidence.
Where
and the
you
girl,
see a bruise?
right over our right forehead, right eye.
You saw the man's finger there. Yeah.
I may have to do a DNA, but considering that he was there at the time of the crime, two, there is evidence, and we have two witnesses.
Anybody else? And then please tell us, how does that relate to our Seventh-day Adventist homes?
So it's obvious based on the mother and the daughter's statement that this man is not modeling what we might call a true man or a model man. He's given a false sense of what a good man should be, because the mother said she don't need a man, and the young lady, the daughter said she don't want a man. So she doesn't want something that's going to cause her, the young girl, doesn't want something that's going to cause her to be crying all the time, or if those are abusive markings on her face, or whatever that man brings. She doesn't want any part of it.
Yeah, and also she's young, so she shouldn't even have a man yet, but she's just growing up with that thought that she don't want a man when she gets to be that age.
Don't you think that she saw abuse of her mother? Why she says, I don't want a man. So you see what happens in our home? You see what happens in our homes? Or what can happen in our homes when we don't pay attention? All right, anybody else?
I have a question. Now, since it's a domino effect, that the wife, don't need a man, and the daughter is already from young growing up thinking she don't want a man, do you think that that could cause that little girl to become a lesbian?
Yep. Influence. She doesn't know what it is to be a lesbian, but she knows that she doesn't like men because what she saw the man probably did to her mother, or how her mother treats him. This is a serious scenario here, Yes. know, some little friend in school whose mother is a lesbian would, you know.
My imagination is running away with me of what that little boy gonna say.
No, we're not there yet, please.
I think he's gonna say, I don't want to be a man.
Man, why are you running ahead of me, man? Anybody else with this topic? All right, let's go. Let's go. You let the puss out of the bag already. The little boy says, I don't want to be a man. He listened to what his mother said, what his sister said, and he has come to his conclusion. That's right. Yes. And in the home, when we put down men and when men put down women, and you know, it's just a mess. And the children are listening. Yes. In what way? How is that possible?
You see what you're doing there? God don't like that. You don't, he can't watch over you like that when you keep doing that. God, how is God going to save you when you keep going in that direction? And all kids tend to see God as this big, bad wolf. They don't want to have any part of God. They don't, when we discipline them and we bring in Christianity in it, we don't bring the grace aspect of Christianity in it. We just bring the punitive aspect of Christianity in it. And we've got to be.
Yes.
I think what is very powerful in this example is the importance of having a man as the head of the household and how it can impact the family, for that family to become so dysfunctional. And then this dysfunctional family is going to affect the community, right? And then it grows larger. And then we have a dysfunctional population. So it is important for us as a church to make sure that we set that example for our men, to make sure that they are the right example for their family. Especially, yes, right? In their position as head of the household. Because the Bible does say if a man doesn't take care of his household, he's worse than a heathen. So it's very, very important for the man to take up that position of responsibility.
Thank you. Anybody else? We're getting to a close here.
No, I just want to say I agree with Sister Pottinger because I worked in corrections in prisons in New York, and even the inmates, you know, criminals, when Mother's Day and stuff, they're making stuff for their mother, making sure they get their cards and their flowers and whatever to send out or to mail out to the mothers. But when Father's Day, nothing for fathers, they're not even mentioning the word father. So it just shows that even, you know, why they even in prison.
Okay, and if nobody else, right? I want to tell you a personal story, and I want you to listen carefully to it. One night, we were living in Canada, and one night about 11 o'clock, my older son came to me and says, "Mom, I want to talk to you." And the way he looked, when he said that, I was very concerned. So I went out with him in the living room, and I said, "Louis, what's wrong?" He said, "Are you and Dad having a divorce?" And I said, "What? Where did you get that from?" He said, "Well, you know, the pastor that's living down the street, his daughter is his classmate." They were young, probably 10 or 12 years old. And she fed that in his head that her parents are having a divorce. And she said to him, "And your parents," and that was a pastor's family too, "and your parents will get divorced too." So I don't know how long this child had this thing, and he was looking at us and observing us. I don't know, but he finally came out. 11 o'clock in the night. Did I ever jump out and went there with him? We got finished 1 o'clock. So you see, I had to let him know that, have you seen anything that would make you believe that we are getting a divorce? Have you seen us fighting? Have you seen us quarreling? Have you seen us doing anything? No, but she told me that your family too will get a divorce because her parents, her father is a pastor. So I just want us to know as parents that sometimes we need to talk, sit down and talk a one-to-one, one-on-one with our kids because they get a lot of crap, pardon the word, from outside. People, the little kids, discuss what's going on in their homes, and they could come home and act up and feel that they're going to be left alone. So parents, I wanted to bring this to our attention, and grandparents. The children, we have our discussion as adults, and they have their discussion as children. We need to spend some time talking with our children. Just talk. How is school? How is everything? Bring up a topic, and let's talk about it. And you might learn a lot of what they learn outside of the home. This we brought here is about the home. Yes.
Unfortunately, this situation exists in our church. What can we as a church do to help a family like that?
Anybody would like to answer this? If this was a situation, but how would we know? How would we know? How would we know that this is a situation that a family is going through? How would we know? unless they went to the pastor.
You also have men's ministry, you have women's ministry. Within those group, you can talk with your brothers. You know, I'm having this problem in my household. Or if you're a woman, you can talk with your sisters and say, you know, my husband haven't come home this night, that night, whatever, something. If you don't want to go into all the thing, but you can say something, and then, of course, bring it to the pastor as well.
So, did the men's ministry say anything that you can come to them with a problem?
They didn't say that, but they don't need to say that. I can go to any man I want. I don't care what they say. I can come to Elder Welly and tell him, you know, my wife have been very abusive to me. You know, Elder Welly.
I think depends on how our relationship goes together in church. Somebody might not want to go to pastor, somebody might not, but they might tell a confident member of what is happening. And they can relate it to the pastor, and pastor can relate it back to them, you know, or the encouragement. To a person in the church, right. It could be, will relate it to the pastor.
Only if they consent.
Well, no, let me say this. No, wait, sis. When I was at another church, the pastor came, but these people were more attached to me than the pastor. I could relate to the pastor. And the pastor, and it's not that they want help, but it's not a help but if they come to me, I should be able to assess they need help. I'm not a counselor, right? So I need to take it to the counselor. And the pastor, my pastor, right? Because I had the situation before. I had many of those situations before. And where even the member want to take it to conference, but they come to me, you understand? And I have to kind of guide it. So the thing is, all right, for example, one day a little girl come up, the pastor's daughter, walk up into front of the church. You all better talk to daddy because daddy beating up mommy. That's the pastor's daughter, right? So sometimes it's not what they might want to go to pastor. They can't go to pastor, but sometimes pastor is the one who have to settle the thing. So I think the pastors, and if the pastor is the one who can need to settle the thing, then we need to deal with them.
Let's hear from a qualified family life educator. Come. Let's turn to a qualified educator.
In that case, Elder Wellington, I think your intervention in that case would only be relevant or okay if the family member or the person says, okay, take it to the pastor. Many a times I'm involved in family life counseling, volunteer, and people of the church, most of the people I counsel are not Adventists. People of this church who I have said, I don't want to go to the pastor with this information. I need my personal situation to be as confidential as possible while getting the help that I need to correct the issues.
I'm glad we're having this conversation here because the Seventh-day Adventist Church tries hard to educate the church members to do the right thing. Because you see, just talking to them can can end up in the courthouse.
And there's something else that we need to learn, not discrediting the value that pastors bring to the congregation, but many pastors don't know how to do it. And so they send their individuals over to us to help individuals with Christian counseling.
That is correct. Sometimes we must be professionals. And you're a pastor, a preacher, you're not a counselor. Although you have some pastors that are both, right? And I remember in pastoral counsel, we were told to be professional by referring that person to a counselor. And so another thing you have to be careful of is that some people claim to be counselors. They are advisors. Because the purpose of a counselor is to help that person to find a solution to their own problem and not dishing out advice, pieces of advice, giving pieces of advice. We have to be very careful about, and we must be professional.
Yeah, and I agree with what both of you are saying. We need actually to make the members aware of the resources that are available, and then that point them in the right direction towards the resources. And I know we have a health program, and we do the health nuggets, but we can also do, domestic violence. What are the resources that the church has available for persons who are going through domestic violence, and just advertise it, because a lot of times people really may not want church members. They may want to go outside. They may not want it to be inside. And so give them that choice, but make the information available to them.
It's very important that we use qualified people to work with these people. Qualified people. The pastor has his hand up.
Yeah, a pastor that is not trained as a certified counselor is not a professional counselor. A pastor may be a spiritual counselor to all of his church members, but not a professional counselor. And so the pastor needs to understand the limitations that he or she, because we have female pastors as well, they must realize their limitations, and when it gets to a certain point where it needs professional support and counseling, turn it over to them. Let me also say, on another point that I think came up earlier, that pastors need to be very careful about how they receive information, because the last thing a pastor needs is to have information that is third hand, that is not verified, and could appear as gossip. And so the pastor has to be very, very careful about that. If someone comes to me with information, I want facts, I want figures, I want evidence. I want you to be able to share with me a basis, a firm basis. And I'm not going to be talking to someone unless I have that firm basis for that information. Otherwise, you're just setting up yourself for problems down the road. So just wanted to make those points.
And trust me, plenty of people talk to the pastors. They talk to the pastors. But the pastors need to know when to act and when not to act. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay, maybe some of you may not understand from which background I'm talking. And I'm not talking that in the gossip kind of way. I'll just drop one illustration. We were doing a meeting, not series, nominating committee meeting. So what the church had decided to do is to, like, for the deacons, to call up the wives of the person who is selected to find out what kind of person this is. Now, we called one person, and the lady said, no way, no way. This man cannot be ordained. I think it was for ordination over there. He said, no way, that cannot be. He said, I have 1 foot in with him and 1 foot out. Right? We didn't know that. Now, we decided, because she related that to me, I had to relate that to the pastor. I said, Pastor, we need to meet with this person, with this individual. The pastor never ever want to meet with them. I said, no, you have to. What? Yeah. I said, we have to meet with them. And they said, we can't meet at my house, at their house. We have to come to my house, or we can't meet at church. Right? So it was a situation that, being the pastor of the church, with a family situation like that, you need to be involved in it. Now, if you may not be a family counselor, but then you are the professional who should take it beyond to help them, refer it to deal with that. So what happened is that eventually we were able to restore the family, you know, but then it needed that kind of intervention. That's what I'm talking about.
You know what Trinis call that? Rumor monger. Because you investigated, then you tell the pastor, then the pastor take action. Well, basically, from my training, that is a no-no. You ask the pastor, well, that should not be on the basis of what you started out with. Well, you know, it's almost time for the evangelist.
Elder Wellington was blessed, and several angels were working with you, because in similar circumstances, it could end up being really horrible if you did not get that person's permission to share the information with anybody else. And that's one of the reasons why in church, and I'm not talking about your scenario, because your scenario worked out fine, but that's why in church people don't trust sharing their things with others, because they're not guaranteed that it will stay where they shared it. So that is something as a church we have to work on. And the next thing we have to work on is, and I don't know if it's a skin problem, but I find people of color have a hard time seeing the value of counselors. Chief of sinners do I be. I'll tell you how, I haven't done it, but I'll tell you the rude awakening I had. When my children are out, and I only have two girls, I'm always up. I'm always looking through the window. I'm always calling, where are you now? Where are you this? Where you that? Where you that? Now my older girl, and I'm mad because he's sleeping, but the older girl she's calm and quiet. She likes everything to work in harmony. So she don't fuss, and you know, when I call, Mom, I'm here, I'm gonna be home and so and so. Who are you with? I'm with so and so. How are you coming home? So and so is dropping me. I mean, everything. And when she tell me she's gonna be home and the time passed, oh, it's after 11, I thought you were gonna. My younger Chihuahua now is something else. So I would do the same thing with her. And then one day she said to me, she says, Mommy, you know you need to go for counseling. And y'all are laughing, but she had a point. Because I'll tell you where I'm coming from, why I am so apprehensive when they are out. In growing up, I had 2 brothers who died in accidents, never made it out of high school. One was in Fatima College, finished his GC and was into doing A-levels, died in an accident. My next brother was in high school, getting ready to graduate high school, and died in an accident. So the trauma of that, when they are out, and I'm not seeing them coming in, I'm forever. And that's on that premise, she said to me, Mom, you need to get counseling so that you can deal with that trauma so that you don't put it on us. Because I'm telling you, inadvertently, I'm making them just as nervous as I am. And so I didn't go to flesh and blood counseling, but I did take it to the Lord. And I said, God, if you don't help me to fix this, because, you know, I don't like doctor, I don't like dentist, I want nothing in a white coat. So I said, God, you know, if you don't help me, we're going to have some issues. And I don't want me transferring my anxieties onto my children. And so I had to pray myself through that. But we just don't see the value of counseling. Now, my eldest one, when she left middle school and went to high school, how our Adventist system is, there are some schools that have from elementary all the way up to high, and there are some schools that go from elementary to middle, and then you go over to high. She was in elementary to middle, and she was going over to high. So she's going over to high in one of the schools that had from elementary to high. So the cliques are already formed. They gave her a hard time because she's coming in and toppling everybody. She is a self-taught person. She picks up a book, study for an exam without a teacher teaching her, and go and sit that exam and pass the exam. So the people who were on top got toppled when she got there, and they gave her a hard time. Really, I mean, she suffered. You know, when she went to Loma Linda, she realized that that trauma carried through Oakwood into Loma Linda, and is at Loma Linda she went to get counseling to deal with it. That's why you find she was the one who would always bend to kind of peace, always looking for peace, always, because she couldn't take the constant attack. So she always looked for peace. But at Loma Linda, she got counseling and was able to deal with it, and now is nobody more upbeat than she is. Counseling is good for most of you. But those are things that we need to work through. We need to be the kind of people that can be depended upon to be closed mouth when people share issues with us. And we need to be honest with ourselves. If we know we can't give them the right counsel, tell them, look, I'll pray with you, I'll pray for you, but I cannot help you. I would suggest that you. And send them where they can get the kind of help that they need. Because if we don't be each other's keeper, God will hold us accountable.
You wanted to say? All right, this is two more, and then that's it, Pastor. I'm sorry, I'm on your time. We have time? 7. Oh, okay. Do you wanted to say something? Oh, the gentleman in the
No, I'll pass. Yes. It's a hot topic.
I think one of the problems we are having in our churches is lack of information. Yes. There are many churches who don't know of a counselor that they can go to. So most time they go to the pastors, and then it's their job to give them the right thing. But many of our churches, some people are suffering, and it's when everything break out, you realize something was. And maybe if they had known of someone, maybe they don't want one in the church, but if you could recommend, many marriages could be saved. I believe so.
I believe that every church should have a little roster with a doctor that you trust, a physician, a counselor, marriage counselor. What else? What else you need? A who? A friend. Well, you have friends in the church. Oh, you need to know the qualifications of a friend. A what? A social worker. Because we need to protect our members. True. True. True.
To introduce ourselves to our neighbor. And he said that, you know, we retired from New York. He told them what he was, and I was a teacher. Right away, she said, my daughter is failing. And right away, he volunteered me as soon as we settled. Yeah, he volunteered me. And you know, when we came down, I started to tutor that child. C 4550. That was her scores. Within the year, the girl got an honor roll. She's now in nursing school. And the mom was so depressed because here she's failing and she doesn't know what to do. So I agree with you, Sister Marcia.
Okay. Any? Men's ministry. Very good. Anybody else would like to comment? This is very valuable information, you know.
Well, what I'll say, and my wife knows what I say about, and as a sister was talking about counseling, I mean, I'm not against a professional for earning, but in terms of us as brothers and sisters, husband and wives having challenges in marriages and going to another brother or a sister in the church, we have to be careful. I mean, we have to be careful in terms of doing that, because I've known of situations where couples having problem and they share it with one person. And the result of that was a conference disfellowship the brother. That to me, I believe, to me, in my opinion, the president failed and the pastors failed, because it reached a point where the pastor threatened the brother that he's going to take him to court, simply because he and his wife had issues. And the wife mentioned something to a sister in the church, and it get out, and the husband here, and this husband was one of, maybe, I'm assuming he was one of those husbands that's on the platform there. So it get out of, and he was outspoken. He had a good rapport with the conference, good rapport with the pastors, and he took to Facebook with this thing. And they were up with him, and I said, man, these leaders fail. So in terms of bringing it to, as the thing was mentioned to your pastor, you have to be careful with that, because as I said, it got so much out of hand. You know what I mean? I'm like, personally, I believe, and this is my experience. Well, I have a uncle that tell me that he and his wife has never had a disagreement. I tell my wife that is why he has so many strings attached to him now, because he has heart problem, Pastor. No, for me, so I don't know if you know what I'm saying. Somebody say glory to him. Glory to him, but I mean, I'm yet to see a perfect marriage, and I'm pretty young, 49, so, and just 13 years, and I mean, sometimes, you know what I mean, the kitchen get hot, but I put God right in the middle. That's what I tell my wife. It's not about me and her. She's there and God is in the middle. And when I was getting married, she decided that she wanted for us to get to counseling. Probably some of my brothers will agree with me or disagree. But while I was at the counseling was somewhat one-sided because it was what the man does, The man take up church duty, don't have any time for his family. And I'm like, so the ladies are always perfect. So sometimes we got to be careful. As a man, I'm very careful going to counselors. But my thing, sister, as you ask the question, what's the best way to do? If you have someone who you can confide in. But my thing is, if you have a secret and you don't want anybody to know, don't tell anybody. Tell Jesus.
But you know, if you speak to a certified counselor, and we have some in our audience, they know the value of not repeating what you said, because that would cause for their license to be taken away. So not just figure somebody in the pew, or not even the pastor who is not qualified. You see? And so I think this is a very good subject here, because we need to educate our church members. Here you are, my dear.
Thank you. So when we were getting married, we had Christian counseling, and I thought that was it. But the last portion of the counseling, the pastor advised we have to get clinical counseling. And clinical counseling look at like your emotional challenges, psychological issues and so forth. So my brother, they are counseling at different types of counseling. So it's not just the spiritual counseling, but for you to have a comprehensive understanding of certain behaviors, you also should include clinical counseling from a certified person.
Do you know, I have counseled married people who want marriage counseling, who want to get married, and I have said no. After I have worked with the man and worked with the woman and worked with both of them, I said, no, you guys, I'm not approving this. You're not ready. You're not ready.
It's true what the brother said. Confidentiality is the main thing. Because I've been on church boards and stuff before. And one thing on church board, you said it's confidence. It's supposed to stay here. But soon as the meeting is over, everybody in the church knows what's happening. And I have known a couple. They went to all the counseling. They went on the honeymoon, and when they came back, they got a divorce. Because God wasn't in it for them. They were just going through the motions. And they just wasted all their money. Because by the time they came back from the honeymoon, it was over. So confidentiality is it. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Another thing I don't understand either. Sometimes you will get the best of counselors, but when two people decide that they love each other and they're going to marry, you counsel and you counsel. Many times I don't take advice because they're so much in love. Nothing can happen.
I know. We just a little while last year counseled a couple, and the breeze couldn't pass between them when they sat in front of us. A ton of bolts gone between them since then. 2 years, it's finished. So you can't force people into doing what they want to do. What you want them to do as a counselor, but they could never say that you did not tell them the right thing or help them to make the right choice.
may be talking a little too much, but the thing is, you spoke about the people getting married. Well, I know of this couple who the counselor counseled them and married them. By the time we went to the wedding and by the time we came back, the wedding was over. And who mashed up the counselor mashed up the wedding? Right? So this thing, it's...
But Brother Wally, that is one in a lifetime. That's one in a lifetime. Don't do that to the counselor, man. No, don't do that to counseling. That's one in a lifetime. Anybody else with another? What do you think? Now, let's look at the homes. You saw that? We should so operate with our kids that they feel free to come and talk with us about anything. We learned a great lesson from our son when he came and talked to me. He could have been acting out a lot of things, and we would never have known. He was observing us all along, and we didn't know. And that's a scary thing to know, that your children are observing you, and you're just going along, doing what you're doing. So we need to communicate with our kids. And this here, watch the example right in the home. We always talk about influence outside of the home. But look at this. This is right in the home. Right in the home. And I have a burden. I've taught in 3 7-day Adventist colleges. And I will rap a lot with 7-day Adventist young people. And if I were to tell you what some of them told me, there was one young lady who came to me crying. And I asked her, what's the problem? She said, my father calls me fatty and ugly and stupid. And she was weeping. And I said, why does he call you that? She said, I don't know, but it makes me feel dumb. And I said to her, well, can you tell him, Daddy, don't call me by those names because it affects me. She said, Dr. King, I can't talk to my father like that. He'd slap me and say that's rude. I am your father. I said, okay, let's do this. I'll dictate a letter and you write it. Dear Daddy, I love you very much and appreciate you, but there's something that you do that make me feel small. And wrote it out, what it is, what you do. Because first to begin, I said, can you speak with him and tell him not to do those things, they affect you, not to say those things. She said, I can't talk to my father like that. He'll box me. So I said, okay, I'll dictate, you write. And to be sure that she mailed a letter, I said to her, I'll mail it for you. She came back the next semester. And I said, how was it? She said, my father changed. My father doesn't call me those funny names anymore. But the thing is, we grow up in the Caribbean to not standing up and telling your parents, I don't like this or I don't like that. And my grandfather called me Goosey until he died. He said when I was born, I had hanging chin and neck and I looked like a goose. And he never knew my right name. It was Goosey from the day my eyes were open until he died. They called me Goosey. He didn't know my right name. You know what I mean? Do I look like a goose? So, I've been, I've been through that. I guess I had long neck and looked funny. You know, so parents, let's be careful, including myself, how we talk to our kids, young people around us in the church, how we speak to them, how we respect them and call them by their right names. And when people come and tell us their problems, let's pray about it. Pray with them. Don't repeat it to anybody. Encourage them to go to, we have certified family life counselors in this church, you know. You see one sitting right there. Can you stand up, my dear? Can you stand up? Wave your hand. I am one of them, certified counselor. Do you know that since I'm living here, I've counseled about 4 couples already? And one of them insisted that they should get married, even though it didn't look good. Guess what? She called me and said, we divorced. But you see, when the counselor does his or her job, you can decide what you want to do after. Yes. No, we don't say it that way. We say, it doesn't look like you're compatible. No, we would never tell somebody, right, my dear? We would never tell somebody you can't get married. That's your decision. But it seems as though from what we give them and the information, you need to decide for yourself when we show you the results, do you want to go through with it or not? This is what she's saying. This is what he's saying. Put it all together. If you want to go through with this, you're on your own. No, here's what I do. In what I do, I have a list of 10 questions. Well, not really. I give one a list with 10 numbers. Write the 10 things that you like about Mary. Ask Mary to write 10 things you like about Johnny. And they write it on their own. But then I say, share the list. Share the list. Then I give them another one with 10 things you don't like. And then I say, take that to the roadside. Oh, they never saw that. That's something my husband does. He is not only a pastor, he's a garbage collector. He takes everything everywhere to the God. 51 years now. So you see, as a counselor, you can't tell people what to do and what not to do. You give them choices, and then they write it privately, and then ask them to share it. If they're hesitant in sharing it, that's a red flag. That's a red flag, right? They don't want to share who they are and how they will answer the question. Yes, sir. Yep. I don't have to tell my husband what to do around the house. He just does it. Yes. 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 If you grow up doing things, helping, then when you become a man, it's your professional garbage man. Both, okay. But that doesn't mean that the woman would never do it. If he puts it out and you're coming in and you see the garbage pan empty, you bring it in. We need to be flexible. Anybody else? Pastor King, you were pretty silent. Would you like to say something about the counseling part?
All pastors are spiritual counselors, though they may not be clinical counselors. And therefore, they provide spiritual support in prayer, in visitation, in support, helping our church members to grow spiritually. But there are limitations. And when you come upon those limitations of problems, you hand them over to a clinical counselor.
You refer them to, that's right. We all have to know our limitations in our professions. You turn them over, okay? Turn them over to, give them the name of somebody.
Also, even for those of us who are involved in professional counseling, when we meet upon a client who we deem need more help beyond us, they are referred accordingly, whether it's to a psychiatrist or clinical psychologist and the like.
Yep, because, people love to sue for your house and land and what you don't have. So you need to be very careful. Anything else anybody would like to add?
As what Dr. King says, they're spiritual advisors. And also, I remember when we were in college, we were reading this one book, and it says, when you're contemplating marriage, if you used to pray once a day, you pray 7 times because of the challenges. So we cannot leave that out. Prayer is very important along with the other help that's available.
I also, and the reason why I always look to the pastor as a spiritual person, leader. Well, of course, sometimes we have a little problem, but I remember in my community, people used to look to me as their leader. One night about 1 o'clock, a lady came to my house with her daughter. And she said she wanted me to take her to the police station to lock up her husband. Because he ran them out of the house and decided he's going to chop them up. Now, I decided that I couldn't go to the police station. He never chopped them. He's a promise to chop. So I couldn't take them to the police station. So I had to go. I said, listen, I'm going to go down with you back to the house. In the night, down in the bush. And when I went, the man is in the house and they have the door locked. He said, where the police there? Where the police there? And after I started to talk to him and calm him down, he took back his family. And I never hear any more of thing after that. So I think we need to have some spiritual view to deal with certain things. One pastor say, you go down there and say, yeah. Because there are certain people who have certain faith, or certain confidence, or trust in you, that you know that you can display back to them.
Yeah, that's risky business, my friend. Risky business. Very risky. Where was that? In Jamaica or America? Thank the Lord you ran away. Any more items that you would like to discuss? So we can close. So let's wrap up this. What is the consensus on that? The mother says, I don't need a man. The little girl says, I don't want a man. And the little boy says, I don't want to be a man. What are your thoughts? They need a That's right. Yep, yep. Anything else? Anybody would like to comment on that? Closing now.
Somebody was talking earlier about the counselor always seemed to talk about the man and the man and the man. And as men, we probably have to do better because it's already stacked against us. We are already prone to be the one wrong in almost everything that we do in relationships. So we have to kind of go above and beyond. You know, like how people of dark skin feel that they have to do? Well, as men, we have to do that. We have to do a little bit more so that we can be true men.
But let's face it. You men are the head of the home. You are the head. And you tell us that you are the head. You are the head. You are the man. Okay? So let's set the right example, fathers and mothers. That's where I'm going, for our children. Because if we don't, we will suffer the consequences. May God bless us. It was a good discussion. Until next time. Let's have a word of prayer. Father, we ask that you would help us as parents to set the right example and say the right things, Lord. Lord, you know, being parents, that's a very stressful thing. So help us, Father, to say the right thing and do the right thing and to love the right way, we ask in your name. Amen. Thank you very much for coming.